Welcome back to the King Film Sports Bracketology update, and we've got a new one for March 3rd here. And let's start off with the number one overall seed. We've got Gonzaga. Despite the loss, the top 6 teams in the AP top 10 lost in 7 out of the top 10, so Gonzaga maintains their spot at the top. If you want more info on Gonzaga and the WCC in general, click on the top right for the WCC predictions video. Then we've got number 8 seed San Diego State, who got a great road win over Wyoming. They were on the bubble, but now they're up to the 8 seed in my projection here. Very solid season for San Diego State here. And another team that's gotten hot as of late is TCU, getting 3 straight massive wins, including Texas, Texas Tech, and then Kansas one time. They've got Kansas and then I believe Kansas State to end their season, and this is a very dangerous TCU team, although I do believe they will lose the second game on the road to Kansas. We've got Arkansas, who played a close game with LSU but ultimately prevailed there, and a South Dakota State team who finishes with an undefeated record for the first time in the Summit League. Not sure if they've got a chance at the at-large bid, just because anyone they lose to in their conference tournament is not going to be a great loss, but they're right on the edge right now. But as of right now, I think that they will get the auto qualification through the tournament win. We've got Providence, who's kept up their winning ways except for the loss against Villanova. They're kryptonite so far this year, the team that they cannot get lucky against. Number 3 seed, we've got Tennessee, who's coming off that massive win over Auburn, and then they win at Georgia, and they are elevated to the 3 seed. Then we've got number 6 seed Iowa, who's on quite the tear recently ever since that game against Ohio State. Then we've got number 11 seed Virginia Tech, who is also on a tear in the ACC. And we've got Ohio State, who has fallen at least 3 seeds over the past couple of weeks, as they've lost 2 bad games to Maryland and Nebraska in a row. And then 10 seed, already went over it in that WCC video. We've got San Francisco. Number 2 seed Texas Tech, lost to TCU of course, but rebounded with a win over bubble team K-State. They finished their schedule at Oklahoma State. On the other side, we've got Arizona at the 1 seed after their win over USC on Tuesday. They stay hot. Number 8 seed North Carolina, taking care of business in the ACC. We've got 9 seed Iowa State, who just lost to Oklahoma State, but otherwise they were on quite the winning streak. They haven't played the toughest competition, but that will change on Saturday when they head to Baylor for a very tough game. Number 5 seed UConn suffered the loss at Creighton. That one's not too bad on the road, so they remain a 5 seed. We've got SMU in a falling Wyoming team who has lost 2 games in a row in a Mountain West, which you can't really afford to do that. The latter one to UNLV was the most damaging to their strength of record, most of all, but they were quite consistently down 10 that whole game, and unless Wyoming can turn it on in these next couple weeks, I'm not sure if they will be able to make the tournament. The number 4 seed, we've got Texas, who of course lost to Baylor on Monday night. And we've got 3 seed Wisconsin, and you'll see that Wisconsin is actually 1 seed ahead of Purdue just because of that head-to-head win. Big Ten has been great these last couple weeks with last-second buzzer beaters and other upsets. So I'm looking forward to that tournament and coming down the stretch here. Number 6 seed, we've got USC, obviously just lost to Arizona, but took care of Oregon over the weekend, so they stay at a 6 seed here. Number 11 seed Xavier is, quite frankly, a team that does not look like a tournament team right now. They're 7-11 in conference, and they've lost 7 of their past 8 games. And they're getting wiped the floor with. They probably will be able to beat Georgetown this final weekend, but wow, Xavier is in a tough spot here after being a near lock in top 25 team. As a matter of fact, that's not the story as of late. If Xavier gets in, it will be a narrative similar to Oklahoma a couple years ago when they had Trae Young, where they started out hot but just collapsed down the stretch. Not sure if the committee will want to let in this sub-500 conference team. Murray State finishes their season with only 2 losses in conference, although their last one was closer than I would have liked, dropping down to the 7 seed for that. We'll see if they can clean up their tournament. Number 10 seed North Texas also took care of business in the Conference USA. We'll see what they will do in that conference tournament. Number 2 seed Duke, top team to prevail on Saturday, but the problem is this is just a weak ACC. They do move up to a mid 2 seed though, so they're taking advantage of all of the chaos that has happened. If they can continue to do that, maybe a 1 seed opens up for them. On to the bottom half of the bracket, we've got Baylor, who, as I just said, cleaned up Texas the other night. They've been on a huge winning streak as of late, and this is one of the hottest teams in the nation. They're up to the number 3 overall seed. Seton Hall was able to clean up Xavier, and then Georgetown for an easy week. They rise up to the 8th seed. Wake Forest has taken care of business in the ACC, and they're done with their schedule so far, so they're probably locked into the tournament, and we'll see what happens in that ACC tournament. 5 seed St. Mary's obviously got that massive win over Gonzaga on Saturday. Florida is a team I'm not so sure will be able to make the tournament. Their last game is against Kentucky, and if they lose, they might find themselves on the wrong side of the bubble. As you can see, they're in the play-in game right now. A good remedy for that would be a win over our 4th overall 1 seed, which we will get to in just a minute. As for their opponent, it's Memphis, who will have to take care of business in the American Conference Tournament in order to be in the bracket here. Number 4, UCLA cleaned up Washington on Monday. In addition to Oregon State, they've got a showdown with USC on Saturday to try and improve their seed at home. Then we've got Purdue, who aforementioned suffered that horrifying loss to Wisconsin. Purdue's been getting very unlucky this season. I think there was a highlight reel of them. Moving down to the bottom, we've got 6th seed Alabama, who has been definitely up and down as of late, continuing their ways, but this team is just valued because they have the hardest strength of schedule in the nation. And then a new team to the bracket is VCU, who has been one of the hottest teams in the nation so far, beating up the top competition from the A10. They're currently on an 8-game winning streak, and they do have a tough one at St. Louis to end their season. We'll see if they can hold on to a tournament bid. And another A10 team that VCU actually split with in the regular season is Davidson. They stay at the 10 seed, and they would play Colorado State, who seems to be a lock out of the Mountain West. But you can never say too much with these Mountain West teams. There are some lowly opponents, so if Colorado State loses a bad one, they could be in trouble. Number 2, Auburn suffered the loss on Saturday, but they were able to bounce back at Mississippi State in a close one that Bruce Pearl did not like. Let's move on to the last quadrant, where we've got another SEC team in Kentucky. Also went down to Tennessee, as mentioned earlier. We'll see what they can do against Florida in their final game of the regular season. Then we've got Boise State, another one of these Mountain West strong teams. It seems that Boise State and SDSU have been rising. Colorado State and Wyoming have been falling out of the conference. Another team on the rise is Michigan. Remember when they were on the wrong side of the bubble a couple weeks ago? Looks like they've done enough to punch their ticket into the tournament despite Juwan Howard's absence. Then we've got top 5 seed Houston here. I could see them being a 4. We'll see what they do in the American Conference Tournament. As you can see with Memphis and SMU, there are good wins to be had in that conference. Number 12 seed Notre Dame will just have to take care of business in the ACC down the stretch in order to clinch their spot in the bracket. And then Illinois, currently playing Penn State as I'm recording this, but their last win was at Michigan, a great win for them after that loss against Ohio State, which may have sent Ohio State on the downward spiral. Either way, Illinois is in a much better place than OSU, even despite the loss. They stay at a 4 seed here. Then we've got number 3 seed Villanova, who was not able to capture that Big East title, but they honestly prevail as they are the highest seed from the conference. Providence, who did win the title, is number 4 just because of all those close wins and getting lucky that often. I think Villanova is the best team out of the Big East, and I expect them to show it in the Big East tournament. Number 6, LSU suffered the close loss to Arkansas, but they appear to be a lock in the tournament. They are our worst 6 seed, so we'll see. Their seed could vary a couple of lines here, but we'll have to see what happens. Loyola Chicago appears to be a lock for the tournament, but they might want to win that MVC conference tournament just to make sure. Then we've got 7 seed Michigan State, who just lost against Michigan, and they're currently down against an Ohio State team that's been on the downward spiral, but that is a marquee game for them. We'll see what happens, and their final game is against Maryland. They do appear to be a lock for the tournament if they can beat that Maryland squad. We've got number 10, Marquette, who just suffered a loss, but many do have them higher. The loss to DePaul does diminish them, in my opinion. They're one of our best 10 seeds, but a 10 seed nonetheless. We've got number 2, Kansas, who obviously lost on Saturday, but They have an opportunity to finish off strong here against TCU and then against Texas at home. Thank you for watching. Please be sure to drop your predictions in the comments below.